Have you ever been sat watching Mickey Mouse and his gang, or Looney Tunes, and wondered, why do all of these animals wear gloves? No? Just us? Well, have no fear. We have the answer to that very question you apparently never asked yourself. You liars. Back in ye old days of animation, everything was done by hand. Every little frame in animations, such as Steamboat Willie, were drawn by a person in a stuffy room for hours on end. So as animation developed into the giant booming industry it was in the early days, so did the drawing techniques. Characters started to become drawn in the rubber hose and circle technique. Skinny bendy limbs with soft curvy bodies and features, which meant that animators didn't have to worry about details such as joints and dimensions. Basically, the characters looked simple, but this simplicity allowed animators more time to make the actions more exaggerated and funny looking. So what part of the body has lots of joints? Hands. But why did animators add gloves, and not just leave the hands uncovered? It was because where most characters were all black, so as to stand out against varying grey backdrops, their hands got lost in certain actions when crossing over a body, so bright white gloves made it easier to see the wildly exaggerated actions. Gloves and shoes also made the characters, which were mainly animals with the occasional household object, appear to look more human to match their anthropomorphized behaviors. When describing the design process for Mickey Mouse, Walt Disney said, "We didn't want him to have mouse hands because he was supposed to be more human, so we gave him gloves. 5 fingers looked like too much on such a little figure, so we took one away. That was just one less finger to animate." Ever notice how Pinocchio has gloves as a puppet, but once he becomes a real boy, the gloves disappear? Bloody mind-blowing, right? There's also the darker and more childhood-ruining reason why these beloved characters not only wear gloves, but also look the way they do. Are you ready, kids? Early animators drew, no pun intended, anyway, they drew influences from vaudeville. Sounds innocent enough, right? Wrong. Because it was the minstrel side of vaudeville. For those of you who don't know what the minstrel shows were, they were super not okay shows of white performers doing blackface, but to song and dance in little skits during the late 19th, early 20th century. You may be thinking, what? No way! How could Felix the Cat and Mickey Mouse be racist characters? This is just silly. Well, let me break it down for you. Minstrel characters were mischievous but good-natured, wore black paint, and wore white gloves paired with their baggy clothing. Sound familiar? Nicholas Salmond, the author of Birth of an Industry, explores also how these early animations used comedy and beloved characters to make these racial stereotypes appear less offensive and more harmless and light-hearted. As vaudeville died out in the 1930s, so did the association of the white gloves and minstrelness to cartoons. We eventually accepted the look, and it became jarring to see the likes of Mickey, Felix, Goofy, and Bugs Bunny without their gloves on. We just don't question it as kids. If you enjoyed the video, remember to give us a like and follow for more content like this.